When you was a kid, SpongeBob SquarePants was pure chaotic perfection. A talking sponge, a dim-witted starfish, and a grumpy, miserable neighbor who hated fun. We all laughed at Squidward. We thought he was just a bitter buzzkill who wanted to ruin everyone's good time. But if you rewatch the earlier seasons of the show today, you're gonna notice something deeply unsettling. Squidward wasn't a hater, he wasn't a villain. He was the only character dealing with the crushing and inescapable reality of the working class. And the terrifying part isn't that we just misunderstood him, it's that without even realizing it, an entire generation grew up and became him. In the next few minutes, you're going to see exactly how this children's cartoon quietly predicted the modern burnout crisis, and why SpongeBob Endless Happiness isn't actually inspiring, it's a psychological warning. Let's start by looking at the biggest lie we're told about Bikini Bottom. The show frames SpongeBob as the hero because he represents endless energy and total disregard for the rules. And that's because Squidward is framed as the antagonist. His crime? He just wants quiet structure and for people just to leave him alone.
Let me enjoy the rest of my morning in peace.
Okay.
Hey, I could have sworn I had $5 in here.
I have it, Squidward. You gave it to me to leave you alone yesterday.
But when you strip away the childhood nostalgia, Squidward hate isn't malicious at all. It's pure unfiltered exhaustion. Look at the actual canon of the show. In the TV special Truth or Square, we get a glimpse into Squidward's past. He actually lived a perfectly happy life. He had a beautiful garden, he enjoyed his peace, and he even liked his job at the Krusty Krab. He only turned bitter and frustrated after SpongeBob moved in next door. His rudeness isn't a character trait, it's a symptom. Squidward is essentially the only actual adult in a town full of overgrown children. Think about it. Everyone else on the show act like they're at a permanent summer camp, but Squidward is the only character who acts like he pays a mortgage. He's the only one who seems to understand that actions have consequences, that bills need to be paid, and that life isn't a musical. He isn't mad at SpongeBob happiness, he's mourning his own lack of it. But that exhaustion doesn't just come from having this annoying neighbor, it comes from a much darker systematic problem hiding in plain sight at the Krusty Krab. And once you see what Mr. Krabs is actually doing, you will never view the show the same way again. Before he created SpongeBob, Steven Hilsberg worked as a fry cook and a lobster boiler at a fast food seafood restaurant in Maine, and he modeled Mr. Krabs directly after his former manager. This means the creator of the show literally lived the Squidward experience before even writing it. Mr. Krabs isn't just a funny, greedy boss. He's the ultimate archetype for ruthless capitalist exploitation. In the episode Sweet and Sour, it's revealed that Squidward has worked at the Krusty Krab for 20 years.
You work in the same place for 20 years and you've never noticed the ingredients of the sole item on your menu?
That's 2 decades. Trapped behind a cash register dealing with angry customers, making less than minimum wage. Mr. Krab operates on a business model of extreme labor extraction. He underpays his workers, enforces inhumane conditions, and once literally sold SpongeBob for 62 cents.
Who had to choose between SpongeBob and all the money I have in my pocket? 62 cents.
I take the money.
Mr. Krabs!
But here is where the dynamic is truly twisted. SpongeBob is arguably the greatest fry cook in the universe other than Jim. He can cook like a god, but under any normal economic theory, a worker is paid accordingly to the missed value they add to the product. But SpongeBob is paid almost nothing, and he doesn't care. Day in, day out, SpongeBob gleefully works this dead-end job, skipping work, chanting he's ready. He's a cog in a greasy machine, maximizing his manager profits while entirely oblivious to his own exploitation, which makes SpongeBob the ultimate unwitting scab. Squidward is the only one that sees through the matrix. He might be Andrew Tate. In this episode, Squid on strike, he actually convinces SpongeBob to form a picket line and rebel against Mr. Krab. Squidward demands fair treatment. He protests the vile working conditions, But the strike fails because SpongeBob doesn't actually understand worker solidarity. He just thinks it's just another fun game. Squidward's sarcasm isn't arrogance, it's a desperate coping mechanism for an economic trap that he cannot escape. But if Squidward's trapped in an economic nightmare, why is SpongeBob so happy? The answer isn't optimism, it's psychological condition that is currently destroying the modern workforce. As kids, we're taught to be aspired to be like SpongeBob. The show taught us that the greatest achievement in life was being gainfully employed and tirelessly productive. But as adults, SpongeBob's constant grin isn't inspiring, it's terrifying. It's textbook case of toxic positivity. Psychology defines toxic positivity as the act of suppressing or rejecting negative emotions, insisting on cheerful facade even when you are actively struggling. It's an extreme form of optimism that completely invalidates reality. SpongeBob survives his bleak existence by simply refusing to acknowledge how bad life really is. He lives in pure delusion, and when things go wrong, he just forces a smile and sings a song. In a workplace setting, toxic positivity simulates vulnerability. This equates to emotional restraint with professionalism, and it treats any expression of frustration as weakness. This forces people to suffer in silence while pretending everything is fine. We hated Squidward when we was younger because he reminded us of the stressed out adults around us. We wanted the world to be fun, but now we relate to him because we hit age 25 and realized the game was rigged. We became him, but there's a deeper layer to Squidward's pain that goes far beyond just hating his job, and is the most heartbreaking part of his entire character. Look closely at Squidward's house. It's absolutely filled with paintings, sculptures, and clarinets. Squidward didn't dream of working the cash register. He wanted to be an artist. Through the little jokes and the background details, we learned that Squidward has a massive hopes and dreams. He's deeply passionate about creation. But every single time he tries to express himself, the world literally destroys it or mocks it.
But one more thing.
Squidward is what happens when you realize your dreams are not gonna pay the rent, and the ultimate tragedy is that Squidward actually has talent, but his environment won't let him thrive. Take the season 2 episode Artist Unknown. Squidward is teaching an art class, and a fit of absolute rage, he accidentally creates a flawless breathtaking sculpture. His best art comes out of uncontrolled emotion and deep pain, not disciplined technique, but he never gets the credit for it. He constantly creates the accidental masterpieces and moments of passion, only to have them destroyed. He's trapped in the role of docile. His creative identity is constantly clashing with his demands of his lower class reality. And this brings us to his arch rival, Squidward Fancy Son. Squidward isn't just a bully, he is Squidward's exact mirror. They come from the same background, they look the same, but Squidward happened to succeed. Squidward is living Squidward's exact dream of being wealthy, celebrated artist, and this makes their rivalry so incredibly painful to watch as an adult. It's not just envy of the unattainable, it's raw, unfiltered grief of what could have been. Squidward's arrogance and snobby aren't who he really is. It's textbook psychology defense mechanism. If he can't convince himself that he is misunderstood genius and surrounded by uncivilized mortals, he doesn't have to confront the devastating grief of his abandoned dreams. His fragile ego is the only thing standing between him and total mental collapse. He is holding on to the last pieces of his identity in a world that only values his cheap labor. But there is a moment, one specific episode that proves exactly who Squidward really is and is widely considered the greatest episode in the history of the show. The episode Bangy. Squidward gets a sudden desperate chance to achieve his childhood dream. He has to conduct a marching band at the Bubble Bowl to prove Squidward wrong. The entire plot just as an adult doing absolutely everything he can to make something beautiful, while it feeling like the whole world is actually working against him. It's the feeling almost every real world adult knows intimately.
Bring it off.
Oh, so now the talking cheese is gonna preach to us.
Wait! I know, Tension. Dragons are high.
The band is a disaster. Squidward finally breaks down, giving up on his dream once and for all, accepting his fate as a loser. But then something incredible happens. For the first time in the show, SpongeBob and the rest of the town actually pull together, not to annoy him, but to support him. They performed Sweet Victory in a stadium full of humans, and it was flawless, magnificent, marvelous. The episode ends on a freeze shot of Squidward jumping in high into the air, a genuine huge smile on his face. He finally received the validation, the success, the sheer joy he has been seeking his entire life, and the audience felt that. When creator Steven Hilsberg passed away in 2008, over 1.1 million people signed a petition to have Sweet Victory played at the Super Bowl. 1.1 million people, because deep down, the internet collectively understood something profound. Squidward deserved that win. We wanted him to win because we want to believe in our own struggles, our own dead-end jobs, our own abandonment dreams might actually lead to a victory someday. We look at Squidward and we see ourselves. We see the limits of capitalism. We see the exhaustion of forcing a smile when everything is falling apart. We see the quiet tragedy of putting down the paintbrush to pick up a spatula. The show never explicitly told us to laugh at Squidward. We just did because we was kids. We didn't know any better. But the golden era of SpongeBob quietly warning us about what happens when the playground closes and the 9 to 5 begins. Squidward wasn't a hater. He was just a guy trying to survive. And the older you get, the more you realize that his cynical, sarcastic attitude was never the problem. It was only logical response to an absurd world. So look around you in your own life right now. Which neighbor are you? Are you still forcing a smile like SpongeBob, pretending the grind is a privilege? Or you have finally accepted Squidward phase of your life, seeing the world exactly for what it is? Let me know in the comments. I hope I made you feel something. And welcome to the channel.